So I'm Wanda Goldwag. I'm chair of the Financial Services Consumer Panel, but I also have a couple of other roles. I'm currently chair of the Legal Ombudsman. I'm one of the people who appoints Queen's Counsels. I have a very difficult role, but I think a very important one, as a non-exec director of the Royal Free Hospital. And I work for a venture capitalist. I graduated from the London School of Economics with a degree in economic history. And like many people at that age, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I had a brief period working as an accountant, and I realised it just wasn't for me. And at that point, I fell into marketing. And I had a 25-year career in marketing, working for all sorts of different companies. So the Financial Services Consumer Panel is here at the FCA to represent consumers. And you might think that lots of bodies do that, but it's simply not true. The FCA issues something like a couple of hundred consultations every year. And for some of them, we're the only people who respond as a consumer body. So our job is to make sure that every time the FCA makes a decision about regulation or supervision or changing anything, they have to take a moment to think, how will that affect individual consumers? And we represent that group of people. The FCA and the Consumer Panel work together, I hope, mostly in harmony. We are a sort of critical friend. And so what happens is they come up with some ideas and then they come to us and say, this is what we're thinking of doing. And we hopefully say, that's a great idea, thanks very much. But occasionally we say, I'm sorry, we don't think you've thought about this or that. Have you thought about vulnerable customers and so on? I think the panel makes financial services better by always looking at the pros and cons of something. So to give you a practical example, so if the FCA and other people are always assuming that the way to resolve something is that you can go online or you can check it on your smartphone or you can have an app, you have to remember that quite a large number of people are completely separated from that lifestyle and they don't have access to those things. What we mean by duty of care is that in addition to simply tick boxing, you have to think to yourself, if I told my mother this is how we'd set this up, would she feel proud of me? Or would she think, oh, hold on a minute, that's not very nice behaviour. Look at this product suite. It's making us money. Is there any detriment or harm going on to consumers because they don't understand the product, or it's too complex, or we're doing anything else that is designed to disguise the product in a way that is not helpful to consumers? People say, we've sent the consumer the details, we've sent them the terms and conditions. Well, we all know that people don't read them. I mean, we absolutely all know that. We need to make sure that hidden in terms and conditions aren't things that consumers would never actually sign for if someone slowly explained it to them. People feel if they whistleblow, they're betraying their company. Whereas in the National Health Service, we have managed to make people understand that if they whistleblow, they are saving children's lives. We should try and create the same sort of emotional connection so that people who are junior people in financial services companies can think to themselves, well, I'm not saving a child's life, but I am protecting that child from having all of its parents' savings stolen. FCA regulates the widest range of products imaginable, from really quite simplistic basic credit cards to unbelievably sophisticated investment products. And it is very, very difficult for one small panel, which currently contains about 12 or 13 people, to be able to respond to every single product type and have real knowledge about it. One of the things that the panel is really concerned about is what they call the loyalty penalty. You and I as consumers might think that if we stay with the same company year after year, they'll think of us as our best customers and they'll really look after us. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Sometimes what happens is they leave us on an old product with poor features or that's more expensive, and new customers get a better deal. So what we're calling for the FCA to do is to have companies look at customers who took out the product 3 or 4 years ago and just say to themselves, if they took the product out today, would we have the same benefits and features? Would it cost them the same? And if it wouldn't, we'd like them to automatically upgrade to the most appropriate product. I'm very concerned that ordinary members of the public are losing trust in our institutions. And I think it's worrying when a sector becomes under scrutiny. And we have to accept that the financial services sector has had some very bad moments. So I want the financial services sector to behave well so that consumers can have confidence and buy products. What we are, of course, aware of is lots and lots of mis-selling going on and lots and lots of poor behaviour by people. And it's caused by, I think, very complicated products being sold to the wrong consumers. Retail customers have some specific needs. They need to be able to get credit, they need to be able to get a mortgage, or they need to be able to get loans, and they need credit cards. I'm not entirely certain that the FCA should be trying to create a marketplace where very sophisticated investment products, for example, are being sold online to retail investors without advice. The panel's always been very concerned about what I call the insurance gap. Many people have no insurance whatsoever. I think there's some statistics that most people wouldn't survive for about 4 weeks to 6 weeks if they lost their job. And so it's very concerning to me that insurance products are still sold really to a minority of the population. And I think the insurance industry probably does need to look at itself and say, are we providing products which are, let's say, mass market? For young professionals, what I would always say is be passionate about what you do. It's so important. We spend so much of our life at work. You must be keen and involved in what you do. Be yourself. Don't try and make yourself something that other people want. So, in some companies, they want the women staff to be terribly attractive and well dressed. If that's not you, don't do it. I do a role where I help appoint Queen's Counsels, and time again, you see women apply to be QCs when they could have been 4 years ago. You need to always have an inner confidence that, yes, I may not be the greatest person on earth, but I'm going to do a really good job here. My career highlight so far in my executive career was running air miles for British Airways. That was just a fantastic job. When you're a non-executive chair, one of the things you have to understand is that you can't dive into things and fix them. Your job is to help with the strategy and to make sure that the team you create can make a success of something. It's a sort of mentoring coach role as well, and I really enjoy watching people grow and develop and make a difference.